to you by the New Jersey Office of the Insurance Fraud Prosecutor.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to Caucus. It is our honor to welcome for the first time here on public television Marcus Weldon, who is the president of Bell Labs and the chief technology officer of Nokia. Good to see you.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Can we talk technology and human interaction or lack thereof? You say technology is creating more time for us. But it's doing a heck of a lot more than that, right?
Yeah, it's, we've been looking at this quite a bit of what's the purpose of technology. And one of our philosophies in Bell Labs is think about the future, but think about it from a human possibility point of view. What do humans need in future? And so we've actually come up with the idea, and we're not the only ones, that say we want to create time. And we want to create time by removing mundane tasks. Things
such as?
Mundane tasks could be, for example, the driving one is a popular one these days.
Oh, hold on. Driving is mundane?
It is when you're in traffic. It's not when you're having fun on the Autobahn. And New Jersey is somewhere in between those 2 points.
And how does technology play in there?
Well, one element of driving is called assisted driving, and you already do that, actually. Ways and services like that which are helping you navigate around traffic by giving you an option for the best route, avoiding traffic, avoiding accidents, etc. That's a way that you are, in some ways, saving time. And so that's one you're already using quite a bit. You could argue that using Amazon saves the time, the trip to the mall, finding if the item's in stock, being disappointed when it's not, and then driving home and repeating. Amazon essentially allows you to save time in shopping. And there are many ways we're saving time, but we're also thinking about the idea of creating time, which is time that wasn't available to you. And so if a car could drive itself, that's new time, because the task of driving was the same, but now you don't have to drive. You're actually creating time by making time available that wasn't before because you had to be doing something. And now you don't have to do that thing, and you can use that time for something else.
By the way, clarify for us so everyone understands. I don't want to assume people know exactly what Bell Labs is, and also then make the Nokia connection.
Yeah, so Bell Labs is this crazy place. It's 90 years old. And it was founded originally under old AT&T, the monopoly. It was the research arm of AT&T. And then remember the days of Lucent Technologies, it was the research arm of that. Lucent then merged with a French company called Alcatel to become, oddly enough, Alcatel-Lucent. Bell Labs was the research arm for that. And now Nokia, or Nokia as the Finns say, has bought Alcatel-Lucent, and so Bell Labs is that research arm. So we invent the future of, I would say, information, networking, telecom for that company and for the world, we think.
Let's do this. You talked about creating more time through technology. But the other side of this, which you also think a lot about, and we were talking about the fact that we have a lot of kids between us, right? Well, you have 5.
Almost a soccer team between us, I think.
Almost. See, you would think soccer. I would think a basketball team plus 4 extra. How about this?
That's good.
What about the impact of technology on our human interaction to the point where you mentioned Marshall McLuhan before we got on the air, and McLuhan talks so much about the medium being the message. Has Facebook, Twitter, Instagram become not just the medium, but the message in and of itself to the point where, I don't want to be overly philosophical, but we don't need to have human interaction? We do it through technology.
It's a really good question, isn't it? Obviously, there's an advantage to interaction at a distance, being able to do that over networks. You save time. Back to that thing, I don't have to travel. I came here today to see you, it's great. But in many ways, you can now do that remotely, right, with some efficacy. But the problem is humans are still physiologically wired to want this, to want direct interaction, to create trust, to actually really engage on difficult topics. I don't think we can do that remotely. So I think there's a balance between, we can do mundane, trivial things like saying hi to each other and sending 140 characters to each other over digital media.
Or agree on when we're going to meet.
Or agree when we're going to meet,
What about when we
yes,
have to work something out?
Then we have to meet, I think, in person. Video conferencing attempts to get there, but those are often set up so I'm sitting across from you to create this same relationship we have here. And then trust is really done and formed in that way, we think. So there's still the need for physical interaction for difficult things. New teams coming together, Nokia, acquiring Alcatel-Lucent, the people have to come together to trust each other. But then they can rely on digital media to augment that. And I think that's sort of where we're happy using technology as an augmentation to physical and in a balance between the two.
Robots, where are we going?
Good question. Robots.
I have questions. I don't have the answers.
Well,
That's why you're here.
Yeah, hopefully I have the answers. Robots, a good thing in many ways for mundane tasks. Intelligent tasks, of course, you still need a human involved to guide the process. So I actually think the future is about, we call it augmented intelligence. And what we mean is the augmentation is of you, not a replacement for you. Artificial intelligence, which has been talked about a lot recently, I think Stephen Hawking said it may be man's greatest accomplishment, but also man's last accomplishment. I don't think that's true. I think the goal is actually to augment what you can do, but it's still you doing it. So tools have always been used in that way, hammer, ability to create fire, writing. They augment your ability to communicate.
Well, without that human being, there is no artificial intelligence.
Right. Well, the idea is that in the end, these things become smart enough that, in fact, they remove the need for you. But I think our view is no. In fact, there's a lot of literature that says in the end, humans need to make the decision. All the robot does, or the artificial intelligence system, is help you make a better decision, and that's where we think it goes.
We talk safety, security, all this information out there, protecting ourselves from, the question of privacy, the question of access, the question of, okay, so where am I drawing the line? Where are the barriers?
And I think it's going to be fluid. I think, as we talked about with McLuhan, his other sort of famous quote is that man invents technology, technology then reinvents man. So essentially in that cycle, we're always in a state of flux of adjusting. We create a new technology, we think we know what we're going to use it for, and then we use it for much more than that and we become uncomfortable. So we create another technology that manages that for us. And I think we're in that state of flux with privacy and security. We don't feel as secure in the digital realm as we want to. And we don't feel like we have the privacy we want, and we're going to have to correct for that. And I think the argument in the end is a personal assistant, a digital personal assistant that actually manages you and your life for you.
A digital personal assistant, which deals with the economic question. Not everyone would have the financial wherewithal to do that.
Well, that's where the cloud comes along, right? So cloud says...
I knew the cloud would come up sooner or later. Go ahead.
It's the buzzword du jour.
For those who don't know what the cloud is, a simple layperson's
cloud is basically
definition.
putting your computer in a thing called a data center, which is a collection of computers. But because you put it in a centralized location, you can run a much more powerful set of computers. Used to have this idea of supercomputers. Supercomputers sort of died out, meaning all in one box. Instead, we use standard personal computing hardware, same as in your home computer, but massive racks and arrays of that in the cloud, meaning in a big data center owned by Amazon or many other providers. It makes it cheaper, it makes it affordable. So generally, in fact, when you're buying from Amazon.com, you're interacting with a service that runs on their cloud. Those services that the Amazon.com web pages are running on their cloud. And that's how they provide that service, and they provide it for many, many other things. When you're watching video online from Netflix, you're running from a Netflix cloud. And so that cloud allows economical delivery of digital services, and that's where the personal assistant will reside.
Last question. The place for human, face-to-face, personal interaction won't go out of style anytime soon?
It won't, although increasingly, like the movie Her, you might be talking to a robotic version that is emulating a person, and you might quite like that.
Are you saying soon out of a job, or we're going to have to learn?
No, because you're too good at what you do, and so. But in some ways, we will be interacting with digital versions of you.
Marcus,
as well.
I also think you said somebody else, not really me, but another version of me, a better version of me, technologically could be also here.
Yeah, and even of me. We may not be here, but it'll still be a good interaction.
I was glad you're here today. Marcus Weldon is the president of Bell Labs and the chief technology officer of Nokia, or as the Swedes say?
The Finns?
No, Finns, I saw
Nokia.
The Nokia. Yeah. Either way. Thank you so much for joining us.
Think this is absurd? Insurance fraud costs every New Jersey family over $1,300 every year. Report fraud at njinsurancefraud.org.
Also brought to you by Summit Medical Group, ShopRite Supermarkets, and by International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825.